Now, lately I've been running to some very interesting posts on Twitter, and I keep saying, wow, this is the wildest thing that I have ever seen this year. And then a day later, I'm being shown like, no, I was rushing. Apparently, there is something even more crazy. And so today, I definitely think this is the craziest thing, and it's kind of sad. It's sad because it validates everything I noticed about the world, and it just makes me sad. So you have this guy, right, like Chad Felix Green, which is pointing out something very true. A lot of left wing people have this weird obsession with convincing people that the government is their family. Everyone claims a family role. Biden was your uncle, and he goes through a list of politicians that would actually nickname themselves as part of the family. And then you have like this left wing person coming up, and they're basically saying right wingers have this weird thing where they don't have the foggiest idea of what democracy means. Hint, it literally means the government is your family. Now, the reason that this scares me is not because this is a significant person or anything, but because it legitimizes that, yes, like, not only are there people on the left that do believe the government is the daddy, but you can't even convince them that's a bad thing. Like, they legitimately believe that, okay, in the case that the government isn't my daddy, like, what can we do as a society in order to make it so that they do become my daddy? Now, you realize how messed up it is to hear an American talk like this when you actually understand the Communist Manifesto and what Karl Marx and other socialist philosophers were trying to accomplish. They claim that all people are equal. In other words, there should be no difference between your child and the child of a neighbor. And this ideology is so ingrained in communism that I actually remember back in 2016 reading a Guardian article that was actually suggesting that people should have a childhood lottery. Because it's not fair that some kids get born under Bill Gates and other kids get born under poverty. So in order to make the system fair, you would basically have to give your kid at the hospital so that they do this lottery and just give you another kid, right? So that everyone has an equal chance in life. Communists are absolutely obsessed with the concept of equality, which again, like, is a concept that they claim happens in human nature, but they're just like trying to hyper enforce it in order to prove their ideology right. And so when you understand this, you also understand why you have the whole immigration issue right now, like the whole migrant crisis and how people justify it morally. And you gotta think about it this way. Imagine you live in a small community, like a gated community, and you have this guy who has his own kids suffering, like they're hungry, they're poorly clothed, they're not doing very well at school, and you would wonder, like, what's happening. And then you see that their father, instead of going to work and bringing the money at home, he goes to work, but he always brings the money to the neighbor's kids. Like, he always gives the money to the lady across the street that has children, and he completely neglects his own kids. And you would wonder, like, what type of person would do that? And the answer is a communist. Why? Because he would try to prove to his other communists that he is moral. Like, he is so moral, he is so compassionate, he is so empathetic that he actually does view all kids as equal. And by doing this performative gesture, his own kids are suffering. And when you understand that, you finally get why this message is so chilling, and why this concept, why this mindset has the ability of destroying entire societies if people believe it. Like, let me give you an example. Imagine that you are alive in 1940, right? So it's not really that long ago, but back then there was no welfare. I mean, there was, but like not to the way it is today. And so the question was like, what do you do when you're old? Because when you're young, you can obviously work and you can make money to provide for yourself. But like, what do you do when you're old and you can't work anymore? And the answer was, well, you need to have kids. And the question is like, well, what if the kids are assholes though? Well, you need to have a lot of kids then, right? So like, you have 6 or 7 kids. Some of them may even die because of various illnesses, accidents, whatever, it happens. But the ones that are left, like, some of them may be assholes, and you may end up with none of them caring about you when you're old. But like if you have 6 or 7, like hopefully at least one of them is going to give a shit about their dad and they're not going to allow you to starve. And of course, each one of your kids can have kids of their own, and maybe you even raise some of them, and hopefully, if not your sons, then at least your grandchildren will care about you. And that was like how society used to be functioning back in the day. Like you would raise your kids, and then when you're old, they would help you in return. This mindset is abhorrent for the communists, right? Like they view this as a disgusting thing when you describe it to them. But it's how humanity actually functions. Like this is the genuine way of the human nature. Like the tribes that people created was the ones that they birthed into existence. But unfortunately, right, as I mentioned, like this is not the way things work anymore. The way things work now is that you have welfare. So when you're alive, the government constantly taxes you. It constantly takes your money. And then when you're old, the government promises that it's going to repay you some of the money that they took. But what happens when the government can't do that? And if they can't do that, then they have to import other people's children into your country in order to fix the economy. And this is what we're witnessing now, right? Like the West is constantly living off other people's children, like especially the young generation, like they're selfish. They view bearing children as an evil, as a bad thing. And so the government goes like, okay, well, we'll fix it. And they bring other kids. Now, the interesting thing is like, if we go back to my original talking point where we reduced this to a microcosmos and we only talk about one family. Imagine if you have the family called the Smiths, right? And the Smiths, they live in the Smiths' house, small place, but now the Smiths are old. And they don't generate a lot of wealth, right? Like GDP line doesn't go up. And so the mayor decides that he's going to take 6 homeless people and they're going to put them in Smith's house. And so now that the homeless people are going to have their own house, they're going to clean themselves up, they're going to become like the Smiths, and they're going to get jobs, and the income of the Smiths household is going to go up. Now here's my question, right? First of all, imagine if it actually works, right? So you have like 2 Smiths that are old, and now there's like 6 homeless people that are still their fellow man, they're still part of the same society, but they live inside the Smith's house. Is it still the Smith's house though? Right? Because like technically they own it, but it's kind of 8 people now. And once the Smiths die, is it still the Smith's house? Right? And this is like the mindset that creates this problem, that creates this issue. That thinks the government is the family, right? Like the government is the daddy, and daddy can tell you, yeah, you're going to live with this guy now. The main issue of this mindset and why it's rotten is that the family unit has like a biological tie to it. Like people and human beings naturally have stronger connections to their family. Like most people care about their parents more than they care about other people. Most people care about their children more than about other people. And it's not only that, like they should. Like if you don't, other people will judge you. Like other people think you're best in the head, like you're pathological if you don't do that. Unless you have like really good reasons, right? Like maybe your father was Jack the Ripper or some shit. Or maybe your child ended up on CNN. And then it's like, okay, fine. But like other than that, normally speaking, like you're supposed to like your children more than others. Because there is that connection. Now, when the government comes in, the government has no connection towards you. They don't know your name. They don't know who you are. You're just a chart. It's a soulless institution. It's a cold institution. The idea that the institution that is soulless can replace the family, it's mind-boggling. Like, how did this actually get into the mind of the public? And it's not like 1 or 2 people. Like, it's a sufficient amount of leftists that believe this way is the real puzzle that has to be solved. And once you get this, you also understand that all leftist policy stems from this mindset. If the government is the daddy, then you don't need guns. The government protects you. He's like the father. He's the provider. If the government is the daddy, then you actually don't need to have kids. The government will take care of you. When you're old, like it will pay you a pension. So like the government provides everything. It provides security, it provides pension, it provides housing, it provides all, right? So like that's what they want to see. And then this is why in the Soviet Union, it was Mother Russia, right? Because like the state provides, the state is the mother. And people have to fight against this mindset. Like, if you're a person enjoying freedom and liberty, this is something that needs to be combated and corrected. In every conversation, every single time it pops up, immediately you need to step in and check that shit. Because it is a mindset that can destroy civilizations. The government is actually ran by people with self-interest, like you and I, that actually do care about their family. Like, the politicians care about their family first and foremost, right? Joe Biden, for instance, like, he cared about Hunter Biden first and foremost, which is why he pardoned him. They don't really, it's almost impossible to expect that a politician will care about you when they don't even know who you are than they are to care about their family. And so when you empower the government and you turn it into Mother Russia and you give the government like all these powers, the people running the government, they have self-interest, they have their own families, and they're actually human, unlike the ideology. And this is why you get corruption, and this is why you get societal collapse. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.